Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another gigantic land vehicle, and when I say this is gigantic, this is absolutely massive, and it's called the Python Mobile Base, which is, well, this glorious thing you see right behind me. So this features pretty much everything you'll ever need for survival mode. It's got lots of guns around the outside, we've got lots of renewable power in the form of solar panels, which you can clearly see towards the back of the vehicle, and we come with plenty of mods on here for some decoration. Now, you don't have to use the mods if you don't want to, they are purely there for some decoration, barring the rotary airlock mod, but you can easily just replace them with regular doorways, because it has to be set up to actually allow you to change them over if you don't want to use the mod. But anyway, pressing F10, we're going to find it in here first of all, then I'm going to grab on my character, walk underneath this vehicle, just to show you the sheer size compared to the engineer. I suppose we'll have a quick tour of the interior, quick look around the outside, then we'll drive around for a bit, because there's not too many controls with this vehicle. But anyway, not that one, we want the one right below it, here it is. This thing is not 74,672 large blocks, no, it's much more closer to 5,000, but does have a rather massive PCU that goes along with it. Anyway, as you can see here, we do use pretty much every single DLC pack available to Space Engineers, so much so that it goes off the screen. And of course, we've got a bit of information about it. Down to here, we can see some very important bits of information, such as when we hit 30 meters per second, our thrusters will turn off. Make sure we don't go too fast, potentially break the vehicle. And all the way down to here, we can see our scripts that are currently being used on this vehicle, such as the self-grip wheel controls. And of course, we've got a few other bits and bobs. We'll see them a bit later on. Anyway, yes, there's our PCU coming in at 38,570, and the mass is 5,000 metric tons, which is bloody heavy. So giving this thing a thumbs up, grabbing hold of my character, going first person view, and walking below this thing. So this is the wheels. I do absolutely love these giant wheels. But walking underneath the vehicles, we see our spotlights up there. We see the whole undercarriage of the vehicle and all the hodgepodge of stuff going on with it. We've got gyroscopes, we've got our thrusters, which are very much needed to actually make this thing move. We see below our interior walls and just how that little white strip on each side creates a little glow. Just walking across this, in fact, using a third person view, there we go. This is what it's like just walking underneath this vehicle. It is absolutely massive, the sheer scale of this vehicle. Anyway, looking up to there, there's our large atmospheric thrusters. Over here is an alternative way to get in and out, but unfortunately there is no way to actually bring down this piston system from the ground. So once we're in the vehicle, we can simply press a button, then this will come all the way down close to the ground, make sure you can limit your jetpack usage coming in and out of this vehicle. Anyway, all the way across there, we can see our hinges. Power comes across our wheel suspension system. Make sure we're not going to do any kind of risky bumps or lumps that could damage the bottom of this vehicle. And I suppose with that, what I am going to do is now just jetpack all the way up to here. In fact, we'll come around towards the very front of this thing, all the way around, and land myself down right here. So come back into the third person camera. What we're going to do now is have a brief look around the outside. Then we'll go to the meat of it, which is a full-on tour of the interior. Like I said, we'll drive around, and that'll be that. Anyway, for the very front of the Python Mobile Base, this is what we get. And well, as you can see, we've got a bunch of window blocks that show us a lovely gigantic bridge with two transparent LCD screens telling us both our horizon and a few bits and bobs about this vehicle. Moving on down over to here, we see how our wheels have been set up. So we've got our wheels onto a hinge, onto some steel blocks, onto another hinge that acts as our suspensions. Then pulling away from that and onto the side. There we go, so we've got fantastic use for our beam blocks, just going all the way across, some more decorative touches, as well as a place for our atmospheric thrusters going and attach themselves onto this place where I landed myself down on. We've got two interior turrets to make sure no sneaky so-and-so tries to get aboard your ship. And of course, right next to where I'm standing is the rotary airlock mod, which I do absolutely love. I do think that Keen should add into the base game because they are very fancy, and they do add a nice little decorative touch to your buildings or ships. Anyway, putting away from there, we can see a bunch of assault cannon turrets blast your enemies with one lone artillery gun right on top. Moving all the way across, there's our large atmospheric thruster, just covered up slightly by some green armoured panels. Then we can see a bunch of window blocks where in this middle section right here could be our engineering bay. We'll get a better look at that when we go around on foods. Moving up slightly, there's our solar panels, and a very clear view of our artillery turrets. Then moving down once again, all the way across, we've got more interior turrets. And there's another way in and out, just be a little perch to see what's going on at the back here. Then at the very back of this thing, here we go, we've got ourselves a small landing pad with 3 connectors to dock your ships up to, and 2 ways to get into this ship. We can also see one hell of a lot more assault turrets. So yes, this thing will do a nice bit of damage to whatever tries to approach you. Then on this top section, once again, small window blocks. This is going to be for our modded plants. So we do have a small botanical garden inside here, where you're growing some potatoes, growing some pumpkins, some mushrooms, and all of that you need for your adventure. I suppose if you really want to, you could pair this up with the eating mod. I believe it's called Realistic Knees. That could be a Skyrim mod. but you get what I mean. You grow food, you make water, and fill up little bars on your HUD. Across to here, along the top. There we go, there's our solar panels on both sides. There's a bunch of our oxygen farms, there's a beacon, there's an antenna. Across to here's your artillery turret. And over to here's a bunch more assault cannon turrets. There's a spotlight right in the middle, which you can view from a special seat above our engineering bay to act as a small security camera. Then towards the front, there we go. Coming all the way down underneath this thing, past all our windows for our bridge. And here we are once again. I suppose we don't really need to look down here because we did that when we were on foot. There's of course all your gyroscopes. Across the here's your atmospheric thrusters. We see some hydrogen engines. Over to this part, we got some batteries. There's a projector so we can project the entire vehicle to repair it up. Suppose this is a good time to mention that this does come with the nanobot auto repair system. So yes, if you ever took damage, that should hopefully find blocks that are damaged and repair them up automatically. Moving towards the back. There we go, there's our elevator. There's some more atmospheric thrusters. There's some more O2H2 generators. And there we are at the very back. We're going to have a landing pad with a small little decoy that will hopefully prove a nice distraction for any enemies coming up behind you. And then for good measure, there's a parachute hatch. Not too sure how well that'll do for this vehicle, but I suppose I could try that later on to end the video. I could always drop this down from, well, a great height to see if it does deploy and see if it does save the vehicle. But with that, I'm going to grab hold of my character and start to come through this doorway right here. It's got a doorway on the opposite side which is identical to this, so just walk through this section. Here we go. And now we've got a doorway on our right hand side. Opening up this, walking through here, here's our officer quarters. We've got some beds, planter, chair, little inset light in the ceiling, and a lovely little window to peer outside. Walking through this section, leaving the doorway open so I can make sure that I know exactly where I've been and where I have not. Yes, I suppose what I will do before I actually go any further is hit this lovely red button. So all throughout this vehicle, we're going to have these lovely little button terminals just scattered about everywhere, where we simply just press this button, and then all doorways that are currently open will now be closed up, and just act as a small little emergency airlock sequence. Anyway, opening up that, facing towards here, we've got a small cargo container with some little access panels on the side of them. That's going to be the same for all the sides on this cargo container. Just walking past this to the opposite, there's our rotary airlock for the opposite side. And then into here, once again, our officer's quarters, so opening up this, and the exact same setup. Now walking to this section, which way do we want to go? I suppose we will leave this to last. So we're going to come into this, and here we go for the main bulk of this video. So in this section, we've got a bunch of different places where we can go. As you can see on the left, we've got a cryo sleep. As you can see on the right, we've got a medical bay. Then on the further left and right hand side, we've got even more ways to go. But to start things off, we're going to go through the cryo sleep area, because this is a dead end, where as you can guess, we've got a bunch of cryopods just lining up the room, and it's going to be the same on the opposite side. There we go. Firing across one section, we've got an air vent, so when you're tending to the people inside their cryopods, you don't suffocate if the door does close behind you, and somehow locks itself. Walking out of here to the opposite side. Here we go, into the medical bay, opening up this. Here we are, so we've got our little scanning table, fish block, so when you're laying down there getting your scan done, you can have something to distract you. Behind there's a little bed for you to rest up on. And we've got a bunch of other little gobbledygook just to act as some more decoration through this room. Anyway, there's our full-on medical bay block to recharge yourself and to change your outfit. Into this section is another doorway which we can ignore because we'll see that a bit later on. And into this section, we now view into our engineering bay, at least one side of our engineering bay, which features a bunch of large cargo containers. Anyway, turning around, there's a Homer Simpson jump scare. And that's about it for this area. Can we now close this up? There we go. Come to this side, past this little planter, open up this doorway, here we go. Now we come around this lovely section right here. So a fantastic view outside of the trees into the distance. Now we can come to this section, but once again we've got a rotary airlock door. As you can see, we're now going to go to our production, our elevator, and our CIC. So closing this. There we go. And here we are. So we've got a bunch of large cargo containers lining up this area. And then got a massive LCD screen telling us all the stuff about our ship. Telling us what's going on with our cargo containers. And of course our power, what's going on with them, and our ore and ingot summary. Into here we've got our console blocks we're getting inside. For whatever reason, it's very, very noisy. Hopping out of that and turning around. And here we go. So we can see a bunch of module blocks over here just sitting on top of a large assembler. And then looking over to here, got a bunch more stuff just powering up and sorting out all the stuff in this vehicle. Yes, opening up this doorway, here we go, got a lovely little perch to see what's going on from the outside. And of course, if you see any enemies approaching you, you can always just grab hold of one of your guns. There we go, and just start to blast them. Not too sure why I just grabbed the flare gun, but you get what I mean. Anyway, walking back through here, coming all the way down, into this section, just ignoring everything else on this section. We now come into this part and press the big red button. Here we go, so this is our elevator that comes all the way down to the ground, past our atmospheric thrusters, past our lovely blinding spotlights. And while this is your alternative way to get in and out, make sure you don't use your jetpack, or at least limit your jetpack use, get all the way up and inside. So hopping down to the ground. There we go. Coming all the way back up, hitting the big red button. There we go. And then we come all the way back up to our engineering bay. And there we are with that. Anyway, coming back all the way up to here, past all this section, we can ignore all those reactors into the distance and come through this lovely red door right here. So where this is going to go to our main recreation area, we're going to have a bunch of seats lining the room, we're going to have a kitchen bay and our entertainment center, which is currently playing some music, so I'm going to have to mute part of this video. Not too sure about the copyright on that. Yes, here's a lovely big desk. On to the left hand side, we've got a little seat to sit on and peer outside the window. Once again, very noisy seats. I suppose we'll come through this section right here. So we can peer through our engineering bay. Through here, some more seats for you to sit on. There's your entertainment center, currently playing some music. Round to the opposite side, fish block. Here's your kitchen bay, so we've got our proper little kitchen quarters right here. Cook up food, serve up the food, then go sit on your seat right there. There are a couple of modded LCD screens around this room, where as you can see we've got our Burger Clang, not to be mistaken for with Burger King, so we've got our solar rings, and in space, no one can hear you cream. And yes, to the opposite side. There we go, so we've got our big stack. It's a vegan nightmare. Now come back through this section, all the way through this doorway, and heading towards the back of the ship. We can safely ignore this doorway because it's going to be basically the same as what we just saw in the engineering bay, which is simply going to take us to the outside. Yes, we've got this doorway right here called the ratings quarters. Not too sure what that is. When I first went around this before I started recording, I read that as rattling quarters, so for now on, this is now the rattling quarters. Got planter, locker, plenty of beds lining the room, so plenty of places for your crew, or even just for people who are coming with you on your adventure. Yes, I'll just leave to the opposite side, opening up this doorway, closing it right behind me, and there's another doorway for the outside. And on this side, we've got our female toilets, on the opposite side would be the male toilets. There we go. But we just simply got our shower and then toilets, or even on this side, it's a shower then toilets. And then onto this section, we've got a doorway that goes towards our back docking pad. On this section, we've got a bunch of lovely LCD screens telling us a bunch of fancy information. So there's our engineering suit and a bunch of little bars and graphs. Over onto this one, here we go, we've got some more fancy LCD screens. Then coming up these steps, past our armory locker, more fancy LCD screens. And then turning around, we've got a little seat to sit on and to hear what's going on out the back. There's the air vent to make sure we don't suffocate, another fancy LCD screen, then all the way down, and then around into here, another little emergency button to press to close up all the doors. We can open up this, step on through, closing it right behind me, and here we are on the back docking pad. So compared to the Engineer, it is quite small compared to the overall size of this vehicle. Yes, we can fit 3 vehicles on here if we wanted to, and even a land vehicle if you really wanted to, just remove some of the railings across there, just drive it straight off. Facing the back of this thing, we've got some interior turrets to make sure no sneaky person can actually get on board this thing, so you're trying to approach that door, you're going to get blasted, and if you're really unlucky, the assault cannon turrets will start blasting into you. But anyway, onto this section, a bunch of shelves, into here's a cargo table with an access panel on top. And of course we can see some windows up there, where we just were with our seats and fancy LCD screens. But other than that, that's that for that side, and that's that for the back, so all we've got to do now is come through this doorway, and head towards the front. So opening up it is, stepping through, here we go, we now come back through this section, past the female toilets, into here, past our little rattling quarters, past the Burger Clang, and here we are back in the engineering bay. So in this section we do have a few more ways to go, but yes, there's our piston for the elevator system, we've got a way to go up there, and a way to go up here. Up to here is going to be to our food growing section, so we've got our hydroponics up there, so closing this, rotating it around, up these steps, and here we are at our conservatory. So a bunch of plants lining the area, and I do absolutely love this mod. We've got a little kelp grower, and on this side we've got some pumpkins, that comes all the way across, lots and lots of pumpkins are already being grown, so you can never have too many of them. Onto this side, even more pumpkins, into this, not too sure what that's meant to be, but we've got plenty of them growing on here. Then round to the opposite, we've got what I presume is corn, and into this section we've got some mushrooms, where I suppose you could make a fancy dish using all these things. Anyway, to the opposite side, past all of that, here we go, we've got some more plants currently being grown, that comes all the way across, and that's about it for this section. Just a lovely little greenhouse, just to grow up all your food, and of course to view all the turrets blasting into enemies that come nearby. Now we've got to come all the way down these steps, down through here, closing up this door once again, down to here, keep going, then up these steps, all the way around past our assemblers and refineries and all of that, and then into this section, for this is a special command center to control all of your turrets and your spotlights. So you're going to have your most trusted crew inside this section to make sure they don't blast anything you want to keep. Yes, on this side we've got weapon lockers, into there another emergency button to close up all the doors. Here's a projector table, bunch of LCD screens telling your current power and usage of the ship, or your vehicle even, and of course the windows peer down into the engineering bay. Anyway, as for the seats lining up this area, these 3 seats on the right hand side are going to be to control your turrets, whereas this one on the left hand side is going to be for your spotlights to act as security cameras. So hopping into here, pressing number 1, we can now view all the way around here and get a good view of what's going on. Hopping out of this, pressing number 2, coming all the way down. Anything going on this side? No, there is not. We can get a good view of what's going on with the vehicle, see if it's taking damage, and of course peer into the distance where there is a space pirate just hovering there menacingly. Anyway, hopping out of this, coming across into this seat, this is for your assault cannon turrets, manually control them. There we go. Into this one is the exact same seat. So there we go, there we go. We now actually control this one. And then finally, this seat could be for your artillery turret, which is right on top there. So we just aim at those space pirates in the distance, fire it. And you know what? That was pretty close. At least what I'm calling close. Yes, there is that, if you want to use them. Anyway, back through the rotary airlock. And coming all the way down, past all of this, all the way down to the bottom, and then through this the way at the very back. Once again coming past all of our large cargo containers, once again coming past our medical bay with Homer Simpson right there. We're going to open up this one. And here we are, we're almost done with the interior tour. Then we'll go to the very front. So on this one, this is going to take us back to the medical bay, where there's our full medical bay block. We've already seen this room. Closing that up, coming all the way around past this planter, into this section, opening up this doorway. And here we are, once again, another doorway from medical bay. Closing up that. And here we are once again at the starting junction. So past this cargo container, the only place left to go is on this section right here, where the middle one's going to be for our bridge, then the left is going to be for our briefing room, and the right is going to be for our server room, which is going to have all of our programmable blocks. So into the briefing room, opening up this, is a very fancy room, bunch of books line the room, airmen to make sure they don't suffocate, planters, fancy LCD screens, weapon lockers in case things get really heated inside here, and of course a window here outside. As for that, that's that for this room. Go across to the opposite side, opening up this, here we go. So yes, one hell of a lot of program blocks going on here, a couple spare ones, couple ones in use, got automatic LCD screens of course, and of course our subgrid controllers for our wheels, and another projector table in the middle, just adding as a bit of decoration. And with that, all that's left to do now is come through this section, opening up this, here we go, and here we are in our bridge. So we've got a fantastic view all the way at the front here thanks to all those window blocks, but turning around, here's an emergency button which we can press to now close up all the doors on this vehicle to make sure we're nice and sealed inside. Got a couple seats here and there to make sure passengers have somewhere to sit down, even to make sure we don't suffocate. And on this side, LCD screens once again telling us our power of our solar panels and what we're using with our batteries. To the opposite side, there we are, we see we've got a planter. Onto this section, we see we've got our output for our hydrogen engines and our reactors. Then turning our attention back towards the front, getting into the seats. First person view, here we go, and bring up the HUD. So we only got 2 tabs to go through, but we can safely ignore tab number 2 and just stick to tab number 1, which will be your thrusters, and of course your braking system, make sure this thing can stop correctly and start up correctly without you needing to press P. And of course number 9 is an emergency parachute, just in case you need it, which like I said we're going to test out in, well, just a moment. So in third person view, pressing number 4, that's now going to activate our wheels and allow us to drive this thing around. Using it on default settings for our thrusters, this is what we get. And as you can see, our thrusters are, in fact, as it's stated on the Steam Workshop page, turning off when we go about 30 meters per second. Coming below that, moving forwards, and then they turn on once again. But yes, this thing is bloody loud. I'm going to have to turn that down to make sure you don't get deafened by this vehicle. Now turning this thing around, here we go. And yes, this is going to take quite some time to do a full 360, where it might end up going over a cliff edge because that does look quite dodgy in the distance. Zooming all the way out, now that should be fine going all the way around, but we might bump into several trees as we were to do this. So yes, we have to be very careful with this and plan greatly ahead, make sure we don't just slam into stuff or accidentally fall off a cliff. Hitting spacebar, coming to a stop, this is our stopping speed, so we are bloody slow with that, so we've got to be extremely careful when actually coming to a stop. So like I said, when turning this thing around, do plan ahead to make sure you're not going to do anything reckless and risk damaging the vehicle. Then moving backwards, here we go. And there we are, it's about the same as moving forwards. Then once we're done, once we're ready to park up this vehicle, we simply press number 5, that activates all the systems, then we very quickly come to a stop, and we should hopefully sit still. But what I have found, and I'm not too sure what is going on there, but it looks like a drone is approaching me. It seems like all the artillery turrets, all the assault cannon turrets even, have now discovered it, and I was just blasting straight into it. There we go. And it looks like it's slowly coming down to the ground. The artillery turrets have now started open firing, and there we are, that's now been fully disabled, and a good little showcase of the gun's capabilities. So yes, the one time that I do want to have drones appear, they do actually appear, unlike in the previous video, but the Reavers did not want to spawn. But anyway, I've completely forgotten what I was actually talking about. As for that, that's pretty much it for the outside. That's it for the inside and what this vehicle has to offer. Of course, how it controls when driving around. So I think one final thing to do with this thing is, of course, to drop it down to the ground, see how the parachutes can handle the vehicle, and we'll see if we can actually help it land down safely onto the ground. So bringing the free camera all the way up, that will do quite nicely. Pressing Control Spacebar, here we go. Pressing number 9 to activate our parachutes. They've now opened up. We should ping all the way back. And our speed is still going up. We're about 51 meters per second, 52. We're now tilting all the way down. But looks like that one parachute is just about enough. Yes, it is. That is going to stop us, hopefully in time. Maybe it will, maybe it will not. We are slowly coming to a stop, so there is that. If you want to airdrop this thing from space, you do have that option. I'm not too sure that's going to be a wise decision, because as you can see, we are going headfirst into the ground. But anyway, as I was saying, that's pretty much it for this vehicle. It's a fantastic looking vehicle, inside and out, and you could get a lot of fun out of it if you do like giant land vehicles, just to roam about in survival mode. But to finish off this video, I'm going to cut the parachutes, and now we're just going to slam straight into the ground. Hopefully the game won't crash. So here we go, straight into the ground, and, well, I can hear a lot of explosions going on. Bring on my jetpack, hiding the HUD, coming all the way around, and there we go. So yes, if you did have an accident with parachutes, and for whatever reason they cut out, you simply lose the front part of the vehicle, and we'll get to watch it slowly fall all the way down onto the ground, and we'll damage the top section of the vehicle. But as you can see there, we can see the wheels wobbling around, as well as the suspension systems trying to save itself. But anyway, as I said, it's a fantastic looking vehicle. There'll be a link to a description below if you do wish to download and play around yourself. Highly recommend you do. I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.